Earlier today, I spoke with Speaker of the House, Louisiana Congressman Mike Johnson. Mr. Speaker, nice to have you join me. Obviously, this is a big day, October 7th, and Prime Minister Netanyahu has compared it to 9/11, saying it's like 20 9/11s for his country, which would mean 60,000 people killed in this country if they were as big as we are. Your thoughts today?
Well, it's a tragic anniversary. October 7th changed really the whole world, the whole scope of the Israel's survival. I mean, its fight for its very survival as a nation. They now face an existential threat, and they have a war on 7 fronts. We have stood strong with Israel. The House Republicans, I think, have led the way in that with regard to the federal government in the United States. But Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have had a strategy of appeasement in so many ways against with Iran, and they've effectively empowered them and allowed all this aggression, the attack of Iran and its proxies, Hamas, beginning with Hamas and Hezbollah. And it's a real shame. So, I mean, Greta, we have focused on this since the day I became Speaker of the House. I was elected Speaker almost a year ago, October 25th. And following the atrocities of October 7th, Congress was stalled for 3 weeks in responding. So the very first thing I did is get that resolution passed on the House floor and through Congress to support Israel in the strongest terms. Then we supplied the supplemental foreign assistance that they needed for their actual defense. And of course, we have military assets surrounding Israel right now. We're doing everything we possibly can. I had Bibi Netanyahu, our friend, the Prime Minister, come and address a joint session of Congress in July. And shamefully, Kamala Harris decided not to attend that event. I couldn't believe it. But they have really shown kind of an appeasement strategy. They've tried to appease both sides, and I think it's been very dangerous for Israel, for the United States, and everybody around the world.
But it's not just the United States. I mean, look at President Macron of France calling for an arms embargo to Israel for actions in Gaza. I mean, they're losing the friendship in France.
It's incredible. I mean, look, Israel is fighting a battle of good versus evil, civilization versus barbarism, as Bibi Netanyahu said in last October. This is light versus darkness, and we have to be on the right side of this. I mean, Israel was attacked brutally. The atrocities of what happened on October 7th are just difficult to describe. It's hard to process. You know, we arranged in a big theater in Washington many months back. I think it was about a month after the attacks of October 7th, when that footage was made available of the body cam footage of the actual Hamas terrorists and what they did in the kibbutzes and what they did to the innocent men, women, and children of Israel on that brutal attack. We played that for members of Congress, invited Republicans and Democrats to come to the theater. And as that was playing, you could see and hear the sobs, the sighs. I mean, many members could not sit through it. They had to stand up and walk out of the auditorium. We know which side is evil here. It is the terrorist regimes, and it is Iran who is empowering them. And now Iran firing on Israel itself. We have to stand with our allies, Israel. As Bibi Netanyahu said in his speech to Congress, they are the only thing, Israel is the only thing between Iran and the United States, which the radical Islamic terrorists and Iranians think, or they call the Great Satan. We have to support Israel, not only for geopolitical stability, but also for many of us as a matter of faith. I mean, this is an important thing to bless Israel. And Scripture says, I will bless the nation that blesses Israel and curse the nation that curses Israel. I want to be on the right side of that one, Greta.
Well, you know, you mentioned that tape, that 47-minute tape, which I've seen too, and you've got a situation where you've got one guy calling his mother saying, I killed, I think, 10 myself, bragging, cheering. Then you've got the one part where they're decapitating some man very slowly. You've got children being, what's so different here is that because Hamas videotaped what they were doing, it's not like us reporting later what we have heard. They actually take us and show us their brutality. And so anybody in the world can see this in real time. And, that's what's so profoundly different about covering this war for me. And I would think that would have a profound impact on people in Congress's ability to make a decision on what the United States should do or should not do.
Well, you know what? Some people don't want to see it, Greta. And we also saw after October 7 and the response, this radical anti-Semitism that sprung up around the country on these college campuses. I went to Columbia University and faced down the angry mob with a handful of colleagues from the House Republican Conference. We told them that they were wrong. Obviously, this is a moment that is desperately needed for moral clarity, for conviction and consistency in leaders everywhere. And I have been so disappointed that the current occupant of the White House, the administration, was so reluctant to stand with us and speak. I was so disappointed that Senator Chuck Schumer would not go to Columbia University himself. He is the senator for that state in New York. He was MIA. There's a number of leading Democrat voices that have been too silent for too long. They have not been unequivocal in their support of Israel and their criticism of the terrorist and Iran regime. We have to do this. This is a very important moment, not just for Israel, again, but for the United States, for our alliance, and for stable democracies around the world. This is a really, really important moment, and it's probably the most dangerous time since World War II.
Turn our attention domestically. You've been to Georgia, you've been to Florida, you're now headed to North Carolina to assess the damage there. Americans are really hurting there. What can the citizens do? I know what Congress can do. I know what, do you have any sort of suggestion? Because this is all hands on deck for all of us.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question, Greta. Our close mutual friend, the Reverend Franklin Graham, and his organization, Samaritan's Purse, is one of the organizations leading the charge in helping people in all these disaster areas. The thing about Hurricane Helene was the scope of it is so great that it affects at least 6 states. And I've been on the ground in these places. In Georgia, for example, Governor Kemp said it was as if a 250-mile wide tornado ripped through his state. In Florida, I went to the place where Hurricane Helene made landfall and went through the communities that are there. It's not just on the coast, but even inland. They had an 18.5-foot storm surge. Nothing survives that. It just wiped homes and businesses right off their foundations. It's utter devastation. And then, of course, it went up through Tennessee, Virginia to the Carolinas, and I'll be in Asheville, North Carolina on Wednesday. That is the epicenter of probably some of the greatest damage from storms we've seen in the history of our country. Samaritan's Purse and these other private organizations that they're doing extraordinary work. They're using the churches. They're using the local volunteer fire departments. And they've been, I think, in my view and in many's view, based on the people there on the ground, Greta, they've done much more work, much more important work than FEMA and the federal government through the executive branch. That's a shame. But I think your question is a good one. I think the way to do it is support those organizations that are there on the ground doing incredible work. And I know they can use every amount of donation and, of course, volunteers as well. There's an army of people there helping. And that's the only encouragement in a storm like this, is that you see Americans stand together and you're reminded of what a resilient people we are. And ultimately that God's love transcends all of this.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. And of course, I do have to finish it by noting that you are from Louisiana, where Katrina devastated us in 2005 and all, of course, the other Gulf states. This is not something new to you. Thank you, sir, for joining me very much.
Thank you. Great to see you, Greta.